guys, today I will share with you my favorite book. Here is my favorite book, Rent a Bridesmaid, written by Jacqueline and illustrated by Nick Sherritt. This is my favorite book of all. I really love this book, and I have already read this book, so it's going to be awesome. Today I will read chapter 1 for you to listen. I will read this book all over again to practice my reading and also learn some new vocabulary. So yeah, shall we start? Yeah. Today I will read chapter 1. Let's begin. This story starts with a dress. Not any old dress, not a check school dress, or a pinafore dress, or a party dress, or a princess dress. This is a bridesmaid dress. The most beautiful bridesmaid dress in the world. It's pink. It's not a sickly bright stick of raw pink. It's a very soft and subtle pink. I don't think I've ever had raspberry ice cream, but it's that color. Vanilla ice cream mixed with just a few red raspberry, all swirled together to make this beautiful shade of pink. It's made of silk, so smooth you want to keep stroking it. It has puff sleeves and a collar, both edged with a tiny piece of lace. A tight waist, a very flare skirt with 3 ruffles. It has its own petticoat too, a slightly darker pink. And the hem is trimmed with the same lace as the dress. It's not my dress, of course. It's my best friend Maddie's bridesmaid dress. We both called Matilda, only no one ever calls us that, apart from Miss Hope at school, particularly when she's cross with one or other of us. It's usually Maddie. She's very naughty and very cheeky, but everyone likes her a lot. Even Miss Hope. I like her ever so much. I'm enormously happy that she's my best friend in all the world. I did have a best friend before Maddie. I had friends. I mostly went around with Kathy and Amanda. They were always very nice to me. It's just that I knew Kathy liked Amanda best, and Amanda liked Kathy best too. It's a bit depressing being second best with everyone. That says it's because I started at this school in year 3, when everyone had already made their best friends, but Maddie only came to Hellsfield in year 4, and I think particularly the whole class wanted to be her best friend, even Kathy and Amanda, but Maddie picked me. It was right on the very first day, straight after register. She came up to me and said, "Hey you Matilda, guess what? I'm Matilda too." Well, of course I knew that because I've just heard Miss Hope call it out, but I pretend to be surprised just to be polite. "Really? Wow! Cool," I said, though it wasn't really such a coincidence. There are 2 girls called Ayesha in year 4, 2 girls called Alina in year 5, and there are actually 3 girls called Jasmine in year 6. I worried that I sounded silly. I felt very shy of Maddie then. She had bright red curly hair, a great mauve bit, and lovely green eyes, and a funny turn-up nose sprinkled with freckles. She wore an ordinary Hellsfield blue and white check dress, but she pinned different badges all over her front, and she wore amazing emerald green trainers, all sparkly with sequins. "I love your badge and your shoes," I said. Maddie grinned. "They're cool, aren't they? Miss Hope told me we're not supposed to wear stuff like this, but she didn't get cross because I'm a new girl. So what do you think about being called Matilda?" So, yeah, what do you think? I shrugged, not really knowing what to say. Well, I like my name. I especially like it that there was a great story about a girl called Matilda who loved to read. I love reading too. I have 6 copies of Matilda book at home because people think it's a great idea to give it to me for a Christmas or birthday present. "It's a totally rubbish name, isn't it?" said Maddie, "but everyone calls me Maddie. Do they call you that too?" "They call me Tilly," I said. "Yeah, some of the kids at my school tried calling me that, silly Tilly, but I soon put a stop to it." "Don't you mind being called Tilly?" "Not really." "Okay then. It might have got a bit muddly if we were both Matty." So, shall we sit next to each other in class? Well, love that. But Miss Hope usually says where we have to sit. That's okay though. I'll tell her I'm shy because I'm new and I need to sit next to someone nice, said Maddie. I was thrilled that she thought I was nice, though Maddie was the least shy girl I've ever met. Somehow she got her way. Miss Hope let her sit next to me, and by the end of that first day, I felt I've known Maddie all her life. When the bell went for her hometown, she said, "Can you come to tea?" That would be great, but won't your mom mind? She will be pleased if I've got a new best friend, said Maddie. She will be very pleased. She said it so casually, but for me, it was the most amazing sentences I've ever heard. She has actually said I was her best friend. I must have looked a bit stunned because she gave me a nudge. We are best friends, aren't we? She said. Oh, yes, of course we are, I said. It wasn't hard to pick Maddie's mom out from all the others' mom waiting at the school gate. She had a mop of bright red curls, and so did Maddie's little brothers. I liked their clothes too. Maddie's mom had a long green dress and a black velvet coat and purple wedge shoes. She looked very arty, reminding me a little bit of my own mom. Maddie's little brother had thick old loom, band bracelet on one wrist, and a brown bobble hat with a pom-pom at either side, like ears. "Hey, Mom," Maddie called and took hold of my arm. "This is my best friend, Tilly. She's coming to tea." "Oh, that's great," said Maddie's mom. She smiled at me. "I'm Angie. Where's your mom, Tilly? Shall we check if it's okay for you to come to tea?" "Well, my mom's not here," I said. "Auntie Sue picked me up from school. She's that lady over there, the one with the beige jacket." Auntie Sue also had beige trousers and a beige jumper and beige lace-up shoes. She had beige hair too. The only bright thing about her was her lipsticks. I did my best not to get too near her because I didn't want red smudge all over me. She was the exact opposite of Sylvie. I'm gonna drink some water. Mom's friend from when they were at art school together. Sylvie had collected me from my old school. She always wore black and lots of big bagels, and she had hair down to her waist. Blue hair. I miss Sylvie's now. "Let's go and ask her auntie then," said Angie. "She's not my real auntie. She's just a lady who looks after me," I said quickly. "Hi, Sue," said Angie, as if she'd known her all her life. Auntie Sue looked surprised. She's old, the sort of lady who likes to be called Mrs. Brown. Angie chatted away without realizing this. "You want Tilly to come to tea now, huh?" said Auntie Sue. "Well, it's not quite convenient today, not at such short notice. Perhaps another time." "Oh, please, Auntie Sue, I beg." "Perhaps there wouldn't be another time. Perhaps Maddie would choose some other girl to be her best friend and go to tea with her tomorrow." "Well, we would have to ask your dad, dear," said Auntie Sue. "Can we phone him?" I asked. "I don't think we should bother him at work. He said I can phone him anytime I want," I said. "Yes, but only if it's something very important," said Auntie Sue. "But it is," said Maddie. "Please let phone Tilly's dad. I'm sure he won't mind." "Go on, Auntie Sue, be a sport. Please, please, please." She clapped Auntie Sue's beige arm and looked up at her pleadingly. Auntie Sue isn't exactly strict, but I always have to do what she says. I can't ever get her to change her mind. But Maddie worked wonders. "All right then," she said, smiling at Maddie. She has one of those ages-old phones, and she always forgets to charge it. She often forgets how to work it. I held my breath as she fumbled away, but at last she got through to Dad and explained. Then she handed the phone over to me. "Hi, Dad. I've got this new best friend called Maddie. She's a Matilda like me. And please, can I go to tea with her now?" I gabbled. Dad asked to speak to Maddie's mom, and then he said yes. "You go and have a lovely time, Cheeky," he said, so I did. I'll never forget that first wonderful tea time. The tea stuff was fantastic. Auntie Sue gave me a glass of milk and a chocolate tea cake first of all. I don't like milk and I like chocolate tea cakes, but it gets a bit boring having them day after day after day. Then if Dad ever has to go to work overtime and won't be back in time to give me supper, Auntie Sue microwaves a pizza for me. I know pizza your favorite, Tilly, she always say. I love going to Pizza Express with Dad for a treat. Auntie Sue's little frozen pizzas aren't the same at all. Auntie didn't give us a milk or chocolate tea cakes or pizza. When we got back to their house, she gave us a fizzy water with a slice of orange in it and a quarter of a peanut butter sandwich and a raw carrot in a doll's house plastic saucer of blueberries. Maddie's little brother Lewis put his mouth to the saucer and gobbled down more than his fair share of the blueberries. Lewis, don't let your nasty slurp all over our berries, Maddie complained. I'm not Lewis. I'm a big brown bear, said Lewis, patting his bobble hat. You shush or I'll eat you all up, Daddy. I'm not Maddie. I'm a bear hunter. Watch out or I'll go and fetch my gun, said Maddie. She wanted Lewis to stay in the kitchen with their mom while we went off to her bedroom to play. I'm coming too, said Lewis. No, we want to be private, said Maddie. Don't be mean, said Lewis. You want me to come and play too, don't you, Tilly? I hesitated. He was looking up at me pleadingly with his big brown eyes. I wanted to say yes, but I also didn't want to annoy Maddie. It's my bedroom too, said Lewis, so I can go there whenever I want and you can't stop me. Maddie sighed. Worse luck. I wish I didn't have to share with you, she said. You don't have to get on my nerves sometime. I wish I could have someone to share with. I like my bedroom. Dad decorated specially for me. Pale blue with some white curtains patterned with some pet and a duvet to match. He even bought me a cuddly blue bunny to launch on my pillow during the day. I like the bunny, but after Dad kissed me goodnight, I tip it out on the floor and cuddle Strippy. He's an old bear teddy I have had ever since I was a baby. He used to have a Strippy jumper, but he lost it ages ago. It's a lovely bedroom, but it's a bit lonely in there. I've got my books in the bookcase and my china dogs walking alone at the top of my chest of drawers and my photo of Mom on the bedside table. But that's about it. I used to have all my dolls sitting on the windowsill, and they would jump down and play with me. But Kathy and Amanda seemed astonished that I still play with dolls. I felt very babyish, so I put them in two creators bag at the bottom of my wardrobe. I got them out weeks later, because I missed them so much. But they wouldn't play anymore. They just lay there like dead things. I felt terrible. I sometimes leave my drawing book out and spill my felt tip all over the floor, just to make it look as if someone actually uses the room. There was no doubt whatsoever that Maddie and Eunice used their room. They only just moved to their new house, but their bedroom was already ankle deep in soft toys and Lego and scribble drawings and old dolls with weird felt pen makeup and little ponies and tiny trolls and plastic dinosaur and book and all sort of clothes and trainers and boots. There was clutter all over their beds too. And it was hard to tell what color their wall was because it had so many pictures and posters pinned up on it. Excuse the mess, said Maddie, kicking a space for us to sit in. Mom says she's going to chalk out all our stuff if we don't tidy up. But she doesn't mean it, said Lewis, climbing to the top bunk bed and sitting there, squeezing his leg. Does your mom fuss about being tidy? Maddie asked me. I took a deep breath. Not really, I said, which was sort of true. So what do you want to play? I fidgeted, not knowing what to suggest. When I went to tea with Kathy and Amanda, we usually playing games on their iPads or dress up in their mom high heels or watch pop videos and try to copy the dances. I didn't know which Maddie would prefer. Let's play the Warrior Princesses game, said Lewis. That's babyish, Maddie said quickly. No, it's not. It's our best game ever. Go on, said Lewis. You want to play too, don't you, Tilly? If Maddie does, I said. Well, we could play just for a bit to stop Lewis pestering. But don't blame me if you think it's a stupid game, said Maddie. It wasn't a stupid game at all. Lewis was right. The Warrior Princess game was the best ever. It was exactly the sort of game I like to play. I didn't know anyone else played like that, especially girls of our age. I thought there would just be one Warrior Princesses, Maddie, but Maddie said we could each be a warrior princess with our own kingdom. This is Princess Powerful, Maddie said, picking up a doll with a green face and scribbled tattoos up and down her arms. She ruled over monster kingdoms. This is her private army. She set up all the dinosaurs and trolls rumbling over the rugged terrain of assorted books. Lewis picked up a doll whose eyes were jammed shut. This is my dolly, he declared. She is Princess Go-To-Sleep, who rules over Pillow Kingdom. And these are her army people. He gathered up all the soft toys and tucked them up carefully on 2 pillows and a duvet. Then Maddie and Lewis looked at me expectantly. I stirred a little pile of dolls. There was one who had a purple face and a purple hair too, tied in a ponytail. I picked her up. This is Princess Pony, and she's the warrior princess of Magical Horse Kingdom. I said I gathered a little herd of toy horses and set them to graze on a green dressing gown. My doll has invisible wings, and so have all the horses in her kingdom, so they can flap their wings and fly through the air whenever they want. Hey, you know how to play? Said Lewis. Brilliant! Princess Pony, said Maddie, looking relieved. None of my friends at my old school had a clue how to play, so let's battle commence. Princess Powerful led her dinosaur up and down the rocky terrain of her kingdom, ready to attack Princess Go-To-Sleep. The dinosaur had trolls all growl and gnashed their teeth, ready to rip the soft toy to shreds as they slumbered. But Princess Go-To-Sleep awoke at the first dinosaur pounce and waved her arms in the air while singing a lullaby, and immediately Princess Powerful fell into a deep sleep, snoring very loudly. And all the dinosaurs and trolls became comatose, their plastic feet in the air. Attack them! Princess Powerful hissed between snores. So Princess Pony mounted her biggest steed, and all the horses started attacking Princess Go-To-Sleep from the rear. When she whirled around and tried to wave and sing them to sleep, they all rose in the air out of her reach, though I let a couple of the smallest pony fall to earth and start snoring too. Then Princess Powerful woke up, and there was a prolonged battle, the dinosaur and trolls against the ponies, while Princess Go-To-Sleep started building a Lego defense wall all around Pillow Kingdom to protect her soft toys. We played Warrior Princesses for ages until Auntie called us for supper. That was lovely too. She made real pasta with a cheesy sauce, and we had a salad too, and then raspberry and ice cream. Thank you very much, Mrs. Davis. I said, that was yummy. I'm glad you like it, Tilly. Call me Angie. It's much more friendly than Mrs. Davies, not Auntie Angie like Auntie Sue. Maddie's dad, Tom, came home from work. In time for supper, he made a bit of fuss of Maddie and Lewis, romping with them in the hall. I watched, wishing my dad actually silly like that. Then I felt bad and wanted my own dad. All the old feeling came rushing back. What if my dad had an accident? What if he suddenly decided he needed to have time to himself? What if he simply lost his memory and went wandering off, forgetting all about me? What would I do without a dad? What would happen to me? When Dad came to collect me at 7:30, I rushed up to him too and hugged him hard. After we both said our thank yous and goodbyes and were in the car, Dad turned to me. What's up, Tilly? Didn't you like there? Isn't this Maddie as nice as you thought she was? He asked anxiously. Well, I love it there, and Maddie's fantastic and the best friend ever, I said. So why did you come rushing up to me like that? He asked. You seemed desperate. I was just happy to see you. I mumbled. Tilly, Dad said. His face glowed up. I couldn't work out whether he was happy or sad. His hand reached out and he squeezed mine. But then he had to use both his hands for driving. The house seemed extra quiet and tidy when we got home. I was really looking forward to going to school the next day, and yet I was a bit scared too. Maybe Maddie had changed her mind and decided she didn't want me as her best friend anymore. She didn't go to breakfast club, so yeah, I just sat eating my cornflakes by myself as usual, and then read my book. But when it was time to go out into the playground, Manny came hurrying through the gate, yelling my name. Hey Tilly, didn't we have a great time yesterday? You're so good at playing. You're brilliant at making things up. Promise you'll come again soon. Mom says you can come anytime you like. Great, I said. I felt great. I wasn't that little shy, quiet, mousy girl with a secret anymore. I was Maddie's best friend, Tilly, and it was suddenly a great, big, bouncy, funny girl who was brilliant at making things up. Maddie asked me back to tea that every day, and I so wanted to. But Auntie Sue said it was too soon. She wouldn't even let me phone Dad this time. I wish Auntie Sue wasn't so strict and bossy. I've never really liked her. Dad had put an advert in a local newsagent when we moved to our new house, and I was about to start going to my new school. Wanted, kind reliable lady to collect my daughter from junior school on a daily basis and give her tea occasionally, fair wage paid. Said the newsagent read the advert and suck his teeth. Funny how times have changed. Kids used to walk themselves home from school and get their own tea. Well, I don't expect to get many replies, but here's hoping. We didn't get any reply the first week. Then an old lady answered, a really aged lady who rode a buggy and had a hearing aid and very thick glasses. Dad didn't think she was suitable even before she accidentally drove over his foot. He wanted someone younger to look after me, but the next person was almost too young, a girl of 14 called Shelley. I was in awe of Shelley, with her bright blonde hair and her perfect eyebrow, and her very short school skirt. Dad wasn't at all sure, but decided to try her out for a week. I had to wait her a good half hour for Shelley to pick me up because the seniors finished school later than the juniors. But I didn't mind. I sat on the school wall and read my book, and sometimes drew extra little scribbly pictures of Matilda in the margins. But on Friday, Shelley's boyfriend met her after school, and they went up to the park and forget all about me. The school secretary had to phone Dad to come and collect me, where I've been waiting more than an hour. That was the end of Shelley. I think you're going to have to go after school club, said Dad. I've been to after school club at my old school after Mom left. I've hated it because a boy called Jeremy kept breaking all my pencils and crayons and saying hateful things about my mom. I knew Jeremy wouldn't be at this new school, and no one there knew about Mom. But I was still sure I hated it. Breakfast club was bad enough. After school club was longer and much worse. I couldn't see why I couldn't do what Sid said children did long ago. I rather fancied the idea of walking myself home, and I could easily make myself a sandwich for tea. I was good at cheese on toast too, and I knew how to use a can opener if necessary. I begged and pleaded. But Dad said I couldn't, and then Mrs. Brown, the beige woman, knocked on the door and said she was answering our advert. She was quite old, but not so old. She used a buggy, and she certainly wasn't going to go to the park with her boyfriend. I'm sure we will get along fine and dandy, she said, giving me her best bright smile and patting me on the shoulder. You must call me Auntie Sue. Dad said Auntie Sue was a godsend, if that was so. I wasn't surprised. God was probably happy to have got rid of her. I felt truly fed up now when I have to go home with her instead of going back to Maddie's house. Well, when we lived at our old house, and Sylvie sometimes collect me from school when Mom couldn't, she let me do painting with her, proper painting with big tubes of colors. Sylvie didn't care if I dripped paint on the floor or got it all over my school clothes. She just laughed when I tried painting my hair blue to copy hers. Painting was out of the question with Auntie Sue, though she didn't mind if I did drawing or coloring. I kept some spare paper and my second best set of felt tips at Auntie Sue's house, so I drew a picture of the 3 warrior princesses and their tribes having a gigantic battle. "Is that homework, Tilly?" said Auntie Sue. "No, just a picture," I said. "You've been working on it for ages, dear. What are you drawing?" "Princesses," I said. "Oh, lovely," said Auntie Sue. "I liked drawing princesses when I was a little girl." But then she came to peer over my shoulder, which was very annoying, actually. I tried to cover my picture with my hands, but the paper was way too big. "And my hands too small. My goodness," said Auntie Sue. "Why have you colored their face such strange colors? Don't you have a pink felt tip? And what are all these monster things? And why are they biting and hurting each other?" She sounded really bothered about it. "It's just a picture," I said, and I shut my drawing book quickly. "Can I watch television now?" Auntie Sue and I watched Pointless together. It was her favorite TV program. She tried to get me to join in and guess the answer. I hardly knew any of them. Auntie Sue didn't either, but she still loved watching. And she talked about Alexander and Richard as if they were her best friends. When Dad came to collect me, Auntie Sue murmured to him when she thought I wasn't listening. I heard her saying, "Very strange, violent, disturbing." Dad didn't say anything to me in the car or when we got home. He didn't ask me to see my picture, but when he came to tuck me up in bed, he sat beside me and said, ever so casually, "So how are you feeling, Tilly?" "Fine," I said. "You're still getting along with Maddie." "Yes. She asked me to go to tea with her again. Mean old Annie wouldn't let me. You can't keep going to Maddie's house day after day. She says I can." "Yes, but it wouldn't be polite. And I think Auntie Sue might be getting worried that she'll lose her job. I pay her to look after you. I wish you'd pay Angie's, Maddie's mom." "So you haven't had any fights with anyone?" "What? Dad, I don't fight. No one picking on you." "No, well, Kathy and Amanda said I was stupid wanting to be friends with old Carrot Top, but they're just jealous because I'm Maddie's best friend now." "Miss Hope hasn't been cross with you?" "No, Andy and T. She said my purse was very good. I saw a cat on it," she said. "Yes, what did she say?" "She said it would make a lovely present for my mom." "Well, you can save it to give to Mom when you see next to her," said Dad. I didn't say anything. Dad didn't say either. We just stayed till in my very quiet bedroom. Then Dad gave me a kiss on the cheek and went downstairs. I threw a blue bunny out of bed and cluttered Strippy. I couldn't go to sleep for a while, and so I played with my own favorite game inside my head. It wasn't a wildly exciting game like Warrior Princesses. It was a pretend game called Wedding. My mom and my dad were getting married. Mom wore a long white dress that showed off her slim waist. She had her long fair hair curled up and held in place with her pearl slide. She let me play with her pearl slides once when I was watching her put on her makeup. I ran my thumb up and down the pearls. I was like feeling the little bubbles. I thought they were real pearls once, but they were only pretend. She had a veil too, very white and lacy. I wanted this wedding to be as traditional as possible. Dad wore a very smart suit, with a long black jacket and a gray pinstripe trouser. He had a waistcoat too, black silk with gold embroidery. Dad never wore fancy clothes. It was hard work imagining him in anything but jeans or a suit for work. But it was his wedding after all, and I wanted him to look wonderful. I made sure he was wearing a shirt as crisp and white as royal icing, and I polished his shoes until they were like black mirrors. Then I had to dress myself up too, because I was the bridesmaid, of course. My bridesmaid dress varied. Sometimes it was very pale pink, sometimes hyacinth blue, sometimes delicate apricot. If it was winter, I wore a red velvet dress with white fur around the hem. Though I was worried I might look too much like Santa Claus, I never started dressing myself in raspberry pink, the best color of all. We went to church in a white limo. All the neighbors in Willow Road, where we used to live, came to the garden gates to have a good look at us. We gave them a wave and then we drove off to the church. I knew brides were meant to drive separately, but we were a family, so it made sense for us to all go together. The limo had blackened window. We could see out perfectly, but no one could see in. Dad laughed and said, "Close your eyes, Tilly." And then he put his arms around Mom, careful not to crease her dress, and gave her a big film-star kiss. If I try to draw this scene, I have a fat little cherub flying above Mom and Dad's head and a ring of little hearts above their heads like halos. When we drove up to the church, Dad sprang out first and then helped Mom. I gathered up all the skirts of her dress and make sure they didn't get stuck in the car. Then we walked solemnly into the church, Dad and Mom together, me walking behind holding my bridesmaid Posy. The church was crowded out with all our guests. Most of them were people we knew before, and children from my old school. But sometime I added Auntie Sue, wearing a beige dress and a funny hat, and Miss Hope in the suit she wears on parents' night, and Kathy and Amanda in ordinary clothes, looking enviously at my beautiful bridesmaid dress. I added Matty and Lewis and Angie as special guests of honor in the very front row. Then Mom and Dad promised to love and honor each other forever and never ever apart. So that's the end of chapter 1. It was a long story, isn't it? So bye guys. See you in the next video where I'm going to read chapter 2. Bye. See you.